Welcome to Minute Profinet. Today we will be learning about a crucial piece of infrastructure in Profinet networks, the cabling. We will determine which cabling options we have, their specifications, and some product examples for special applications. Before we get started, a quick introduction. My name is Michael Bown, and I'm a part of PI North America, a nonprofit member-supported organization. We aim to promote and educate the public on industrial networking with a focus on the Profibus and Profinet technologies. We recently revamped this YouTube channel and are posting new content more often. If you like this video, please feel free to subscribe, but for now, let's go to the whiteboard. It's time to learn about cables in Profinet networks.
A Profinet network is based on standard IEEE 802.3 Ethernet. Therefore, you can utilize standard Ethernet cables to build your Profinet network. You might have heard the term Profinet cable before. We will reference this term throughout the video, so it's better to explain it from the start. The factory floor, where Profinet is most commonly used, is a rough environment with challenging environmental conditions. In that environment, standard Ethernet cables, like those you find in your office or home, might break or damage easily. For that reason, industrial Ethernet cables are a common choice. On the wire, industrial Ethernet is just Ethernet. Yet, industrial Ethernet is characterized by rugged hardware, and its wiring is protected with shielding and jacketing. Many vendors offer industrial Ethernet solutions, and some produce cables specifically for Profinet, which we call Profinet cables. They often come with a green jacketing and comply with ruggedized specifications that have been standardized by PI. Now, we can cover an in-depth description of cabling in Profinet networks. Profinet cables come in two broad flavors, copper and fiber optic. The most common Profinet copper cable is a 4-wire shielded green-colored cable which supports 100 megabits per second fast Ethernet at a distance of 100 meters. You can achieve full duplex transmission, meaning data can be transmitted in both directions through one cable simultaneously. Also, 8-core copper cables are available for 1 gigabit per second transmission rates. In order to go further distances than the 100 meter limit, you have to install a node, like for example a switch, every 100 meters. It's similar to cable segments as a limiting factor in traditional field buses. For example, in Profibus networks, you would implement Profibus repeaters between segments to go longer distances. The 4-wire cable can either be realized as 2 twisted pairs or as 1 star quad. On the one hand, twisted pairs can help reduce crosstalk between the wires, but on the other hand, star quad cables are easier to install and therefore more common. The structure of the wires in copper cables can vary. They can have a solid core or stranded core, and variations in the jacket material and construction. Stranded core wires, for example, are more flexible. They are suitable for indoor applications where twisting and bending can occur. Solid core cables, meanwhile, are easier to install. Different jacketing materials can provide resistance to flames, chemicals, or extreme temperatures, or in specific applications, come in different colors. There are 4 Profinet copper cable types: A, B, R, and C. Type A cables are for fixed installations. They should not undergo motion after commissioning. Type B cables are for installations where flexing may be present. These cables can withstand occasional motion or vibrations. Type R cables are for robot applications and are tailored for that specific usage. Finally, Type C cables are for other specialized applications. They can withstand movement and dynamic environments, for example, rotary machines. There are also other cable classes for specific applications, such as buried cables for underground communication, flame-retardant non-corrosive cables for fire protection, trailing cables for moving parts, and many others. A common question about copper cables in Profinet applications is if you can implement Cat5, 5e, Cat6, 6a, or Cat7 cables in Profinet networks. The The short answer is yes, you can implement these cables. However, the categories only specify the performance of the cable, like achievable frequency, speed, crosstalk, and signal-to-noise ratio. You must also check the specifications of each cable. Some older Cat5 cables, for example, are unsuitable, as they are only capable of 10 megabit per second speeds, which is below the required 100 megabit per second for Profinet. That said, Cat5e is the most common, as it can fulfill the 100 megabit per second transmission speeds. Cat6, 6A, and Cat7 cables can provide transmission speeds of up to 10 gigabit per second. Such high rates might seem unnecessary based on current hardware transmission and speed capabilities, but some users choose them to future-proof their network. Profinet networks can employ all of these, but the categories alone don't address their use in industrial environments. The cabling you choose should also therefore meet the Profinet specification. Besides copper cables, Profinet can also employ fiber optic cables. The Profinet fiber optic cables scheme consists of two parallel wires. The wires are ready for the direct assembly of connectors. Printed directional arrows help facilitate the wire's assignment to the transmit and receive connections. Profinet fiber optic cables have speeds of up to 100 megabit per second and full duplex communication over two wires. Fiber cables offer benefits in very specific instances. They can cover distances of kilometers, and they provide total electrical isolation between plant areas. Also, fiber cables are immune to electromagnetic interference. There are two Profinet fiber optic cable types, Type B and Type C. Type B cables are meant for stationary or flexible use. Type C cables are designed for special applications like, for example, permanent movement, vibration, or torsion. 4 different fiber classes can be employed when using optical fibers for Profinet. Those 4 classes are POF, multi-mode glass fiber, single-mode glass fiber, and glass fiber with a plastic jacket, HCF or PCF. Now, let's cover important considerations when installing fiber and copper cables. Distance. Individual copper segments are limited to 100 meters before the signal must be refreshed, for example with a switch. Fiber optic cables cover longer distances by default. Some run for over 100 kilometers long. Cost. Cost is a crucial factor when building a network. Since cable costs vary depending on the general type and functionality, you must create a budget based on each individual project. Also, remember to consider additional expenses besides the cable cost per meter. During installation, each cable will require testing equipment, connectors, and adapters. Also, different cables may require installation training. Environment. Both copper and fiber have multiple cable types available for different conditions. Always choose the appropriate type depending on the environment, fixed, flexible, or dynamic installations. Electromagnetic interference. Because copper cables operate through electrical signals, they can be prone to the effects of electromagnetic interference. This is why you must be careful when running power cables and data cables close to each other. Also, VFDs and other industrial equipment can be significant sources of EMI. Fiber optic cables cannot be affected by external magnetic fields as they are immune to EMI. Availability. Most devices in an industrial network have built-in connections that support copper media. You can employ a media converter to make the transition to fiber, but it is an extra step to keep in mind. In summary, you can employ standard copper or fiber Ethernet cables in Profinet networks. Utilizing Ethernet cables is a huge benefit as they are extremely common, affordable, and versatile. There are many cable manufacturers offering competitive products. You are always able to find the right cable for each Profinet connection. Copper and fiber cables have type classifications to indicate what degree of movement they are built to withstand, and manufacturers also offer cables for special applications. Finally, when commissioning copper or fiber cables, always remember to follow proper installation guidelines available for free from us at PI.
We've covered a lot in this video, including some technical material. If you would like to have this content as a downloadable document, follow the link in the description of the video to our Profinet cabling white paper. You can also visit our website at us.profinet.com to learn more about Profinet through free training opportunities and webinars. Please feel free to comment below, share any feedback, and ask any questions. And as always, thank you for watching.